so they're emptied into the Mississippi River instead of Lake Michigan. And then there's another urban myth or Mickey take about the fact this was done and Budweiser beer. But I've ummed and ahed, and I'm not going to share what I've learnt. But if you want to Google Chicago, Budweiser beer, Mississippi River, you might come across what was said. It's always good to find banter between different cities when you're doing research for your show. So my guest now is Brian Sayad, and he's the VP of Global Development at ChooseChicago.com. And of course, Choose Chicago, that's what we're talking about now. As I've mentioned, every show, whenever there's a website, you can find it at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. And in this case, just look for the 10th of November 2016 show post, and you will be reminded of the website for Chicago. But anyway, let's get on with finding out more about the Windy City. Has Chicago featured in any travel awards recently?
Yes, Chicago has been winning quite a lot of awards recently. The most recent one is that Condé Nast magazine the readers voted us as the second best city to travel to in 2017. So we're really excited about that, and we thank all the readers.
So if somebody's seen that you're the second best because of the award, and they want to go as a couple this springtime, what would be the ideal itinerary?
So we recommend like 3 or 4 days in Chicago to discover the city. Chicago is quite large and there's a lot of things to do. So some of my favorites would be do an architectural river cruise where you can take one of the river boats and go through the city and see all the high-rises and get like a narration of the architecture of all the buildings that you're passing by, which is really, really interesting because you have both the old and the new together, right? You can also go to the Shed Aquarium. There's dolphin shows. You can be in the water with beluga whales. It's a wealth of experience and knowledge that you can gain from there. You see all the animals, penguins, etc. There's the Adler Planetarium, the Art Institute of Chicago. I would also recommend the helicopter tour of Chicago, which is an amazing experience to fly on the lake and see the views.
How about a family looking to visit in Easter? Where would a family go and visit in Chicago?
The Field Museum would be a great opportunity to take the kids there. They have the most complete T-Rex skeleton in the entrance of the Field Museum, which is quite amazing. But even like if the kids are interested in the planetarium, the Shed Aquarium, as we mentioned earlier, and just walking around the city too is a lot of fun. And of course, Millennium Park is great as well.
Are there any new hotels planned to open next year? And if there are, how many rooms will be available, roughly?
So currently we have approximately 38,000 hotel rooms in the core of the city. And the newest hotel that will come on the pipeline will be the Conrad Hotel, which is just by Michigan Avenue. And also there's a new Marriott Marquis that's being built, and it will have 1,200 rooms, and that would be right by McCormick Place, which is our convention center. So there's plenty of opportunities and rooms available for UK travelers to come and visit us.
There's an awful lot of rooms, it really is.
Yeah.
Airbnb is having problems in New York with laws and taxes and stuff. How does Chicago feel about the service offered by Airbnb?
I think Airbnb is not going to go away, right? And it caters to a specific market, which is important, I believe, for most cities, right? In Chicago, there's quite a lot of demand for that. It really depends on what the customer is looking for. And if the customer is looking to have an apartment to live in instead of a hotel, of course we have that available. So, yeah.
Okay. The pound's having a very bad time at the moment. Is it still possible to find bargains in Chicago?
Absolutely. There's plenty of hotel rooms, as we discussed, so rates are pretty aggressive, especially depending on the season, right? But as far as shopping goes, there's plenty of boutiques, neighborhood places. There's great outlets that are, at much more bargain prices than the high street shops on Michigan Avenue, for example, but also the shops on Michigan Avenue have a lot of great sales, right? And Macy's also offers like a 10% off to international travelers. So you get a little bit of a discount from there too. But overall, the prices for goods in the United States tend to be much cheaper than anywhere else. So there's always bargains irrespective of currency exchange fluctuations.
That 10% discount will really help as well, won't it?
Absolutely, it goes a long way.
Are there any annual events in Chicago? Is anything special planned for 2017?
Yeah, there's two major events that I'd like to talk about. One is Taste of Chicago, where the restaurants come together and in one place, in Millennium Park, you can taste so many different cuisines and so many different providers of food. And by the way, Chicago has 24 Michelin star restaurants now. So the culinary scene is evolving at a very rapid pace, and it's really, really interesting. And you can find things to do for everyone and great places to eat for everyone. However, one of our biggest concerts of the year is Lollapalooza. So that happens every summer, and it's a multi-day concert with the biggest bands. So it always attracts travelers from all corners of the world, and domestic, of course, that want to come and see their favorite bands in the great Chicago summer. So
you just mentioned Michelin stars, but I want to drag the food down a little bit. What's a Twinkie?
So that's the complete opposite from a Michelin star, right? It's an American snack. It's like a sponge cake with cream, and it was invented in Chicago, so it's very famous. Yeah, it's good.
I haven't tried one yet, maybe one day.
Yeah.
And finally, how can we find out more about Chicago?
So our website is chooschicago.com, and you can go there and get all the information that you want on what to do, annual events, details about special activities, ideas, itineraries. It's a very comprehensive website. It has a lot of video on it as well, so you can get an idea. But like all in all, Chicago is a great place to visit. It's a walking city. It's easy to take public transportation. We have the L train or buses, so to get from A to B. And it's very user-friendly, and the people are super friendly as well. Even the cab drivers are friendly.
Okay, well, great. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Thanks very much. Come visit us soon.
You can keep up to date with travel news and leave me a message at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Still to come on the show is travel news, and there will be a press release about consumer protection. As you know, consumer protection is very important to me when it comes to booking holidays. And if I find out any information about this topic, I always share it if I can. The next destination featured from my World Travel Market interviews is Detroit. I'm speaking now to Christopher Porsky. He's the manager advertising at Detroit Metro Convention and Visitors Bureau. While I was doing the research for the interviews, on the website, I came across something called Comeback City Stories. And I was intrigued, so the first thing I asked Christopher was, what is a comeback city story?
Well, Detroit is America's great comeback city. We're reinventing ourselves. For a long time, we were based on the automotive industry and manufacturing, and we had to diversify. When the automotives hit hard times in 2009, it required our workers, our residents, to reinvent themselves. So they worked in fields like medical research, battery technology, wind turbine, solar, and we're also seeing an influx of new millennials getting us connected socially and with new technologies. So we really are a new city.
With all the inward investment going into the city now, are there any hotels being planned for the next few years?
Yes, there's been over $11 billion invested in the city, and unlike a lot of cities that tear down their history and rebuild anew, what we do in Detroit is repurpose those buildings. We've given some great architecture, and for 2018 there are 4 hotels slated to open.
These hotels, are they spread around the city or are they based in one particular area?
Well, the new hotels are basically in the downtown core, so they are spread out a little bit, but still within the main core of Detroit, within walking distance of the major attractions.
And what's the big news about the Motown Museum?
Motown Museum is planning on expanding a $50 million expansion to the existing museum. So you think about all the history with the traveling groups, the apparel, the award-winning albums, they need to be shown to the public. So the $50 million expansion will do that.
That's an awful lot of money, isn't it?
It's a very lot of money.
What other new developments are planned for the city?
Well, there's a new hockey arena being built for our Detroit Red Wings. It's a 50-block, city block area, which consists of a 20,000-seat arena. And the area is multi-purpose, so it'll include housing, residential housing, retail, and a hotel as well. And there's also talk of our NBA basketball team, the Detroit Pistons, possibly using that space.
I was trying to picture it in my head when you were describing the size. That's huge.
It's very large.
I'd get lost.
Yeah.
ABTA, the Travel Association in the UK, has said that more people are taking city breaks instead of going away for the traditional 2 weeks. What would you recommend somebody if they're going to go to Detroit for a city break?
Oh, I definitely recommend a trip to our Detroit Institute of Arts. It has renowned artwork from all the top artists. I would also recommend a trip to the Henry Ford Museum. It really is a collection of American history. Henry Ford saw the world changing before him, and as his counterparts were collecting artifacts from Egypt, he started collecting American artifacts. And it really is a sight to be seen.
There's a company near me that refurbishes Model Ts. One day I'm going to get myself one of them. One day.
You come to the Henry Ford in Greenfield Village and you can actually drive one.
Yeah. Got a lot of gears and stuff, I think. It might be a little bit messy. And the steering wheel's on the wrong side of the road. Apart from that. You're here promoting the city to people at the World Travel Market. Do you have a new guide coming out for next year?
Yes. It's our Visit Detroit magazine, and you can get a copy by going to visitdetroit.com and requesting the guide.
Okay, great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks.
What about my phone call? I want to call my family.
Too late now.
Please, please, please.
Step through now, please.
Oh, no.
Too late now.
Here's the goods. You take them in false bottom bag, you strap them to your body, it's up to you.
Look, I've changed my mind. I want out.
Too late now.
So, you're offering me a free holiday?
Yeah,
I just have to bring back something for a friend of yours.
that's right. You get some serious cash.
Right.
Well,
Not too late. Don't get talked into trafficking drugs. Once you're in, the British government can't get you out. Don't throw your life away.
Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. Still to come on the travel show, there's some travel news, which are press releases from the World Travel Market, which has been held in London. My final guest is Dave Lorenz. He's Vice President at Travel Michigan. Dave has been on the show before, back on the 19th of May in 2016. And we talked about Michigan in quite detail. Now we're talking about one or two things which weren't covered during that chat. And for the last time of this week's show, the golf is going to be mentioned. So we're going to be finding out about how golf is expanding in the state of Michigan.
Golf is doing quite well in Michigan. We already have more public golf courses than any other state in the country, but it's not about the numbers. It's really about the quality of the golfing experience in Michigan and the price, the value. Because we have so many golf courses, the competition is really great. So that means the price goes down. You get this really great quality golf at a relatively low cost. There's actually a section in the northern part of the lower peninsula of Michigan, which is known